of the White House's plan to put Washington front and center in the AI race, comparing what they want to do to the Manhattan Project. You know, the research project that gave us the atomic bomb. It's called the Genesis Mission, a government-wide push to fast-track AI breakthroughs in energy, science, and defense, with the Department of Energy at the center of it all. The plan unites AI research across 17 national labs and some 40,000 DOE scientists, creating one coordinated federal AI platform for the first time ever. Joining us now to break all of this down and help us understand what is going on is NBC News reporter covering AI, Jared Perlow. Jared, thank you so much for joining us. Big picture, when you hear the comparison to the Manhattan Project, a lot of people think, okay, are we in that type of scenario where they feel like this is some sort of next war endeavor or frontier? What do you make of it having a name and kind of the references to the Manhattan Project?
Yeah, so I think this is a tremendous shift in kind of America's approach to AI, or really, I think it's a reinvention of kind of federal backing of AI projects. So we've seen throughout the Biden administration, earlier in the Trump administration, kind of federal efforts to back AI, but this is kind of the first really concerted push, throwing the heft of the federal government behind the development, research, and application of AI. So as a colleague said to me, you know, if it really was the Manhattan Project, we probably wouldn't be talking about it, because that remained secret for quite some time. But I think, you know, I don't know if it's similar to the Apollo program to, you know, reach the moon, maybe something like President Biden's cancer moonshot. But I think it is a really substantial, you know, declaration by the Trump administration that we're going to focus on using AI to search for scientific discoveries and basically change the way that scientific research is actually conducted in America.
So what does this mean for Silicon Valley? I mean, should we consider this a formal power shift from there to D.C. when it comes to the AI space?
So I think this is, as I see it, kind of more of a joining of forces. Okay. So if you take a step back, the development of AI as we know it today is kind of interesting and different from many other very high-performing technologies. So if you think about the internet, even kind of the development of microchips, all of that was really subsidized or kind of spearheaded by the government. So AI, on the other hand, has really been spearheaded, developed by a handful of private sector labs. You think Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, you know, the companies whose chatbots you use. So I think the announcement yesterday is kind of a joining of forces between Silicon Valley and the government. And there's certainly a lot of chummy relationships between people in the White House AI czar David Sacks has a very close relationship. A lot of these people were former venture capitalists in Silicon Valley. So I think there's going to be a lot more public-private partnerships, and that's one of the most exciting parts of the order, is it explicitly said that within 90 days, the Secretary of Energy, who's kind of overseeing all this, has to identify some of those opportunities for further public-private collaboration, especially on chips and on, you know, building out AI applications.
So what do you think this means for AI and advancements in AI moving forward? Is there any concern amongst industry insiders that the government being involved could slow down some of the innovation?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't really see it that way. So kind of the three-legged stool of AI comprises chips or computing power, data, and algorithms. And you basically need all three of those legs in order to fuel the AI fire. And, you know, perhaps people have been reading headlines. They've seen, you know, $1.4 trillion in commitments to chips from companies like OpenAI. But this question about data is kind of one of the biggest concerns. And by basically signaling in the order yesterday that the federal government is going to open its repositories of data, you know, everything from deep sea exploration to health data to economic data, I don't know, even wind data, you know, from organizations like NOAA, you know, basically making the federal government's vast data troves and mines of these previously untapped data resources could really kind of transform how scientists within the government and then, you know, in private sector collaborators really kind of approach AI, and maybe it will, you know, turbocharge the speed of AI development.
How soon do we expect to see all of this actually happening and play out?
Yeah, so it being kind of more of a landscape sort of executive order, the first actions, I think, are within 30 days, but within 270 days, the order asks the Department of Energy and people within the White House to figure out how AI can actually be applied to critical national challenges like robotics, like biotechnology, and, you know, even nuclear fission. So I would say probably within a year's time, we'll see, hopefully, some movement on this.
Fascinating stuff. NBC's Jared Perlow, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.